the brain doesn't work well with both, does it? Because you got to make decisions in life. So the truth is, it all depends on your perspective, which side. It all depends on how you need to use it. And when it comes to health, you're going to have to pick a side in some of these things. Some of them, you could probably get evidence to back both these up. You're going to have to pick a side and decide what you believe when it happens and what you're going to use and what you're going to apply. Let's find out what's the truth as best we understand it today. Let's see if I can give you my answers to this, and you can decide whether you think these are useful beliefs to apply to your life, and even maybe convictions in some cases. So if you want to study health, by the way, you got to ask yourself, what is health? Right? I mean, we keep talking about vital health, vital life, health. What is health? Someone tell me, what is it? Is it the absence of disease? That's most people's definition, is healthy if I'm not sick. But I'd say to you, that's not health. Health to me is energy. Because when energy's in your body, you have the experience of a vital life. And what does that look like if you're going to give a definition? Health is a metabolic state where everything in your body is working at its maximum efficiency. It's at its optimum levels. That's vibrancy, that's health, that's vitality. It's not just the absence of disease, because the absence of disease, you might be right on the tipping point, right? You know, you've got vanilla ice cream and you pour chocolate in there and it's white, 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 white. And there's a moment while you keep pouring the chocolate where it's still white, you're still looking healthy. And then there's a moment where what happens instantly? The whole thing becomes brown. It happens in a tipping point, in a second, in a millisecond. It's that 2 millimeters we've been talking about. So the fact that you're not ill doesn't mean squat. How many have known somebody or known of somebody who seems so fit and they worked out and they look good, boom, they drive a heart attack at 40, 45, 50, 55 years old. How many have known somebody like this? Say aye. So health is not just you feel okay. Health is not just that nothing's breaking down. Health is energy. Because with that, you're going to have the metabolic processes of your body. You're going to be able to have things work at functional efficiency. That has got to be our target. Energy comes from the cells in your body. Those cells are the energy factories of your body. So if we want to have an extraordinary life, we better have some extraordinary cell life. Does that make sense? Make this your mantra. The quality of my life is the quality of the life of my cells. The quality of my life comes down to the quality of life of my cells. If the cells in your body are healthy, strong, and vital, you are going to be unbelievably alive. You're going to be strong. You're going to be rejuvenated. You're going to be able to do what you want, because every organ in the body is made up of these little cells, these little gifts that are inside of you. Trillions of them that are floating around inside of you. Trillions. There's a universe going on inside of you. If you haven't done this, and you're not going to do it with me, go to somebody who knows what they're doing, who does like contrast phase microscopes, and look at your blood. It's entering a universe. There's all these creatures right now inside of you moving around. You're not the sterile environment inside. There are environments where there are synergistic relationships, and in some of you there are parasitic relationships going on. It's all moving and changing and exploding and happening. So anything that's going to affect them is something I want to be interested in. Anything that's going to strengthen and enhance the quality of their life, I want to know. Anything that's going to mess with them, I want to be able to deal with. Does that make sense? So then the question is, what does that? So I said, what do cells need to survive? And better yet, what do they need to thrive? They need 3 things at the core. All cells need oxygen. Oxygen. How important is oxygen? There is nothing more important. Second thing they need is water. And notice again, step into my common sense corner. If you were trying to figure out what's the most important thing for me to be vital and alive, it wouldn't be too hard to figure out, since if you go without oxygen, that's the first thing that leaves you, you're over. That's got to be the most valuable piece. Just forget any book reading. Doesn't that make sense? Yes or no? Yes. What's going to be the second most important thing in your life? Water. 70% of this planet is water. 70% of your body's water. More than 70% of your brain is water. I mean, water is life. There's nothing more important. It's the transport system for these cells. It's what makes them alive. Without water, they shrivel up and die, they're dead. And most people live a completely dehydrated lifestyle. They drink liquids, all right, but liquids that are constantly leaching from the body, its core waters, and putting acids and toxins in there. Coffee is one of the classic examples. And the third thing they need to do is, if a cell is going to stay alive, it has to be able to eliminate its own waste. Because a cell is a living creature being within you. It's part of you. all living things consume something and all living things excrete things. Because what you do is everything you take in as a living being, everything you take in is either assimilated or it is eliminated. Just remember, everything I consume is either assimilated or eliminated. It's true for a cell as well. So if it can't get rid of its wastes, if the wastes build up, or if it ends up in an environment, or there's not enough oxygen, enough energy, and the waste build up in the cells will explode, they'll die, they'll break down, they'll rupture. So these are three core things. Now, how do we know this is true, and why does this really even matter? Well, let me give you, if you would, what you can really look at as studies to show this. This guy is brilliant, Dr. Alexis Carrel, 2-time Nobel Prize winner. It's pretty hard to win it twice. He worked at the Rockefeller Institute. He decided, he had this belief that cells could live forever if you just did three things. If you kept their oxygen level at their normal, natural level, where they got fully oxygenated, if you made sure that simultaneously they got the nutrients that they needed to function, and if they were able to eliminate their wastes. In other words, those wastes are constantly being eliminated, not building up in the cell, and not building up in the environment around the cell where it would cause the cell to be suffocated or not be able to get what it needs. So three things: give them all the oxygen they need, give them the nutrients, and just make sure the wastes are eliminated as quickly as they're built up. There's not a buildup of those natural toxins called auto-intoxication. Right now, boom, 7 billion liver cells died as fast as I snap my fingers. That's what's happening right now. Boom, 7 billion new ones occur. As long as those dead ones get wiped out and move, no problem. But if they don't, there's an accumulation of waste, auto-intoxication, toxicity in your body. Our bodies know how to deal with this unless our energy is really low, because we've innovated ourselves through our lifestyle. Unless we're overloading ourselves with other demands that are more than our body can handle, then we may not be able to eliminate things as fast as we build it up. Then we start accumulating problems. So what he did is he did this little test, and he used chicken cells. Now, an old chicken, I guess, is, as I understand it, 7 years is decent, 10 to 12 is an old chicken. That's like a 100-year-old man, right? How long do you think he was able to keep these chicken cells alive in these petri dishes as long as he gave them the three things: the oxygen, the nutrients, that eliminate the wastes? How long do you think he kept them alive? Anybody know? Well, they lasted longer than he did. 3 years before he died, he wrote his paper where he said he believes, what he believed was true. The cell will live forever if you give him these three, and he added one more distinction, and the cell's not ruptured. Like physical rupture, something done to physically jar or destroy it. And the cells were still alive. They continued the study after he died, I believe, if I remember correctly, for 12 or 13 years. These chicken cells were alive 27 years later, right? That's the power of what a cell can be. If cells can live forever, what causes them to die? Here's what he said. The most common killer is a lack of what? You tell me. Number two, he discovered, was any disturbance of the electrical fields. Because what makes a cell alive is this bioelectrical field, this energy field. And it comes from this chemistry in your cells, sodium-potassium balance. There's a sodium-potassium pump that creates the right chemistry for the electrical energy of the cells to be alive. So if you do something that disturbs that, you consume something, a drug, prescription or illicit, a food, a non-food that disrupts that electrical base, then what happens to those cells, the energy in the cells either weakens or dies because it disrupts the electrical fields. If someone takes strychnine, if you take strychnine, the reason someone dies of strychnine is it knocks out that delicate balance in the biochemistry in the cell. And what it does is you got no electricity, cell dies. Third, any physical rupture in the cell can also kill it. And we're making these movements, dancing, moving. There's a method behind my madness, as you may now see, which is, what are we doing? Fully what? Oxygenating. And how are we oxygenating? We're doing it by answering this next question, which is question 8 of the 12 questions. What's the primary medium that delivers oxygens and nutrients throughout the whole body so the body can be alive? The blood. My blood is the river of my life. Blood is the river of life. As the blood goes, is as you go. Now, by the way, what protects our blood? When things break down in our body, which they do, they're supposed to. Things grow, expand, and eventually die. They're supposed to be eliminated by the body. What system does that? The lymph system. The lymph system. That's the next question. Put down the answer for is the lymph system. And the lymph system, I put question 9. What's the primary medium for eliminating wastes? The lymph system works closely with the circulatory system. It cleans and returns the tissue fluids to the blood, and it destroys the toxins. The white blood cells are there. And here's what's interesting. most people think about their blood as being so critically important, and they're right. But you have 3 times more lymph fluid in your body than you have blood. 3 times more lymph fluid than you have blood. That's how important it is. It's bringing nutrients to the cells, and it's taking the waste away. Now think of this as the lymph system is so important that if it stopped working for 24 hours, 48 hours, in that range, you'll die. Because you'll die of your own waste, your own natural waste of the cells dying and not being eliminated. And the environment becomes polluted. The environment gets polluted, gets very acid. All of a sudden, the electrical charges in cells aren't there. Cells can't get as much oxygen. They don't get as much fluid, clean fluid, and they start dying en masse, and you die. So the lymph system is absolutely critical. So if we've got this river of life called blood, and it's bringing these red blood cells, and what do the red blood cells carry with them? What do they carry, guys? Oxygen, right? So if they're going to take this through our body, they're pretty darn important. It's the highest priority is oxygen. We want cells in the whole body to be alive. That river of life's got to be clean. It's got to be flowing.